If you find yourself running from one appointment to the next, physical therapy on Mondays and Wednesdays, OT on Tuesdays, speech therapy squeezed in on Fridays, plus weekly sensory integration sessions, and maybe even ABA or other behavioral interventions, all while trying to manage a strict, restrictive diet and administer what feels like 50 to 100 different supplements and vitamins and detox agents and homeopathics every single day. I want you to know that you are not alone. More importantly, I want you to know that you're not missing anything. You're not failing your child. The truth is that you may actually be doing too much. And in the quest to help your child heal, develop, regulate, it's easy to fall into the trap of constantly adding more, especially if it's of a good thing. More therapies, more protocols, more supplements, without realizing that their nervous system may already be at or beyond capacity. Now, when the brain and our body are stuck in a constant state of stress, sympathetic overload, vagus nerve dysfunction, subluxation and dysautonomia, even well-intentioned interventions can become overstimulating and overwhelming, and in some cases, even counterproductive. That's why so many families that we work with report that despite doing everything right, their child is still stuck and plateaued or even regressing. It's not because you haven't found the perfect protocol or the wonderful supplement on a mom post or a blog. It's because the healing doesn't come from piling on more. It comes from starting at the foundation. And oftentimes, the most powerful next step isn't another supplement or a session, but rather taking a step back, calming the chaos, and working to first regulate and restore the nervous system. What we see in here in our office is that on average, a child on the autism spectrum is enrolled in 3 to 5 different therapies that are done each and every week. It takes between 5 and 20 various supplements and detoxes, and their parents report having tried on average 3 to 5 different restrictive diet changes to help them heal. What's important here is the total load, because when you combine therapies like ABA, like speech, OT, PT, special ed, tutoring, and then supplements and detoxes, plus the strict diets, many level 2, level 3 autism families are managing 15 to 30 plus separate daily to-dos on their list, which can easily become overwhelming and sometimes counterproductive, especially if the underlying nervous system dysregulation isn't addressed first. So first, let's understand what healing intervention overload really is. So healing intervention overload occurs when multiple beneficial and positive therapies overwhelm a child's already dysregulated, overwhelmed nervous system, causing individual interventions to work against each other rather than building synergistically toward improvement. You can think about your child's nervous system like a computer with limited processing power. When there's too many tabs open and too many programs are running simultaneously, the entire system slows down or crashes. You can also think about your child's nervous system like a circuit board or like a fuse box. If it's already misfired and overloaded and plugged into too many things at once, or the fuses have blown, even good therapies can trip the system and blow a fuse. This explains why kids with stress and subluxation and nervous system dysregulation often struggle with sleep and meltdowns and sensory overload and even seizures or motor tics when their system gets overwhelmed from too many therapies happening all at once. Parents, here's the hidden science behind why good therapies go bad. So when your child's nervous system is stuck in sympathetic dominance, essentially living in a constant fight or flight state, it operates like a smartphone with a dying battery. Every function becomes about survival and energy conservation, not growth and not learning, not anything productive. Now, stressed nervous systems drain energy in a hierarchy, starting with our gut and our GI system, which often struggles with motility and absorption and assimilation and elimination as a result, causing a child to chronically not feel good and therefore struggle in therapies. Secondly, the motor system suffers through delayed milestones, poor coordination, hypotonicity, and spasms, weak core strength resulting in crawling delays or W-sitting, toe walking, and incoordination, or the gait issues that stall out and are hard to address with PT or with OT alone. Speech issues also at their root are a neuromotor dysfunction. third step is that immune function deteriorates, leading to chronic inflammation, leading to frequent ear infections, more antibiotics, more infections, and asthma and autoimmune conditions to follow. If your child is sick all the time, they either can't even make it to therapies or can't get much out of them. And this is exactly why millions of kiddos today still struggle with chronic gut issues despite having pristine diets and thousands of dollars worth of supplements. The problem isn't with the nutrition, it's with their neurology. So here's the solution: sequential healing that actually works. The answer isn't to abandon the beneficial therapies. It's to understand the proper sequence for introducing them, creating what we call the multiplier effect, where each intervention becomes exponentially more effective. So phase one in this process focuses exclusively on high frequency, neurologically focused chiropractic care to address the stress and subluxation patterns and restore proper nervous system function, implementing a less is more approach by pausing most other major interventions. Consider this building the foundation. Now, phase two is strategically reintroducing support for the core four functions, like our sleep, our gut and our GI function, our immune system balance, and our motor development. These foundational systems must be online before higher level functions like academics or speech or learning can develop properly. The best place to be able to start within phase two is the motor system, as you'll now be able to see that your child can benefit so much more from things like PT, OT, and speech therapy once their nervous system is better regulated, connected, and coordinated. And in most cases, when a full care plan of neurologically focused chiropractic is done right and done fully, primitive reflexes will fade and integrate on their own. And finally, after the neuromotor system is working better for you, you can begin to better support the gut and the immune system and work on detoxing and eliminating more smoothly, safely, and effectively. Now, phase three is where the magic happens. With a regulated nervous system and a stable foundational functions, previously ineffective therapies can produce dramatic results, and children with regulated autonomic function experience exponentially better therapy gains and start to really catch up and get back on track developmentally. I see this most often with parents that have tried biomedical and homeopathy type therapies and interventions previously that they didn't have much change with. And then we get their nervous system back on track, and then the therapies start clicking. The homeopathy starts doing its job. The biomedical starts pushing the needle forward. All that we did was change this sequence. So parents often ask this one question: how do I find out if my child is dysregulated and overloaded? So you got to start first by just doing an honest gut check on their progress and what your parent gut is telling you may be going on. Are they moving things forward, leaving your child stuck, or are they making things worse? Secondly, we use the advanced insight scans to be able to precisely measure nervous system dysregulation, stress and subluxation, and vagus nerve dysfunction to see if your child's nervous system is completely overloaded, overwhelmed, and exhausted, meaning that they would struggle to gain benefit from other integrated therapies. Now, this gives parents confidence to trust the process and resist the urge to add more interventions prematurely. Because clinically, we know that scans will often improve before signs and symptoms, which means true foundational neurological healing is happening first. Now, if everything that we've talked about in this video sounds all too familiar, and you'd like to learn more about healing intervention overload, the insight scans, and how to learn more about the sequencing of optimal healing, check the link within our bio, comment below, or send our office a DM. We cannot wait to meet you.